Welcome back to Talking Sports, brought to you by Birmingham Greyhound Racing. And speaking of racing legend, as far as the college football season, we're now rounding the far turn and heading into the home stretch. Alabama, to keep it in racing terms, if you're the jockey on Alabama, you're just in a hand ride. You haven't had to go to the whip once this year.
Not once.
It's an amazing phenomenon. The worst offensive output for this team is 45 points. They are averaging in the high 50s. So, people say, well, it's not as good some voter on Paul Feinbaum last week said, well, this is not a very good Alabama defense, so they're vulnerable. It doesn't matter when you score 65 or 70 points.
It doesn't.
So, anyway, I know you've got to be pleased with where they are. It's a week out. They are off, of course, coming off the win at Tennessee where they're up 21-0 before the people even got their first cold one. Well, they probably had a lot of cold ones in the parking lot if you're a Tennessee fan.
By the end of that game.
But going to LSU, we saw LSU in the last 2 weeks step up at home. This team that we kind of questioned a little bit going into the year looks like they really have a legitimate defense. Maybe some questions on offense. How you feeling about that a week in advance?
Well, I like what LSU has done this year, but here's Alabama. And here's LSU. You know it deep down, ladies and gentlemen. You watch football, you watch Talking Sports, you watch ESPN 7 days a week. You have the intelligence to know football. You know Bama's here, LSU's here. And I love this team. I love this defense. Everybody talks about this defense, Kip. But when you look at this Alabama defense, Rohan Davis, a first-round draft pick. Isaiah Buggs, a first-round draft pick. Mac Wilson, a first-round draft pick. Dylan Moses, a first-round draft pick. Christian Miller, a second-round draft pick. Anthony Jennings, a third-round draft pick. Deontay Thompson, a first-round draft pick. Patrick Surtain Jr., a first-round draft pick. How do you not like this defense when you got an offense that can score 50, 60, 70, 80 points a game? This is a complete team, Kip. The defense might not be as great as past Alabama teams, but this defense is real good. I give this team a A+ at this time of the season.
Well, I know you'll be glad to hear this. I was talking to my son in Las Vegas, and they have all kinds of analytics and power ratings and whatnot. Alabama's rating right now, of all the components they put in, and this is not a simple process, is the highest in the history of college football.
Wow, did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? The highest. It's a dynasty.
We keep talking about them being up here. I think it might be a little higher.
This is the greatest time in the world to be an Alabama fan. You old-timers like me, you old-school folks, you know what I'm saying. These are the glory days, and I'm basking in it. I'm loving it, baby. I'm loving it.
So after LSU, they come back home in Tuscaloosa, play what looked like was going to be one of their tougher games with Mississippi State, who is very good on the defensive side of the ball. But Joe Moorhead has brought the kind of Yankee offense to Starkville. And Nick Fitzgerald, who was a great quarterback, is now a running back.
Yeah.
Nick Fitzgerald, did you have the same feeling against LSU that he didn't want to let it go? When he dropped back to pass, it's almost like he's petrified now.
Yeah, it's the worst passing offense in the SEC, Kip. And this is a major disappointment. Moorhead came in there supposed to be an offensive genius, but it looks right now like you're more like an offensive ingenious.
He didn't bring Saquon Barkley with him.
No, he didn't. That's a big part of it.
That was the problem.
You know, they asked John Wooden, said, what's the success, the key to your success? He said talent. When you got Jabbar, Bill Walton, Richard Jefferson, I look great as a coach. He ain't got it in Mississippi State now, and we're seeing the real coach who shouldn't be a coach in the SEC.
So then November 17th, Alabama unwraps the cupcake as the Citadel comes to town. And a lot of respect for that fine military institution, but they just can't play no ball.
No, I shouldn't sign the contract.
Yeah,
They're getting a nice paycheck.
Getting a big paycheck.
Nice paycheck.
And then, of course, the Auburn game is in Tuscaloosa. Doesn't look that ominous either at this point.
No.
And payback is you know what.
Now you know what it is, Auburn. You know what it is. And we're going to mow you down this year. And you need it, Auburn, because you need to get rid of Gus. Go on and call the bag man. Get that situation handled. Get you a real coach. Because you know deep down you are an elite program, but you keep hiring these unelite coaches.
Let's switch gears to Auburn, what they've got left on the schedule. Of course, they're off this week, and then they host the Aggies from Texas A&M next week. Texas A&M is on the road 2 weeks in a row, so that's going to be a tough test. Auburn may have some time to tinker and fix some things, but the bottom line is this offensive line still is not very good. The running game looked better against Ole Miss, but you got to take that with a grain of salt because Ole Miss can't stop anybody.
That's true.
But it was a big win for them because that was a spot where there was a lot of negativity, and they did get a victory. But they come back, and Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher has them surging kind of in the right direction.
Yeah, my brother David Legend told me that Jimbo Fisher will be the second best coach in the SEC in no time. And my brother David Legend is a legend, so he knows these things. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I like A&M over Auburn. I like Georgia over Auburn. I like Alabama over Auburn. I think this, Auburn is in real trouble, Kip. This is a season that has went down the drain. And I hate it for little brother because I wish it would be a competition in Tuscaloosa. But then again, I hope I beat you 88-0, which I probably will.
5-3 right now, and very possibly could lose 3 of these last 4. And you know what that would mean? A 6-6 regular season.
Birmingham Bowl!
Oh, that's not good. We're going to come back and tell you about some big games in the SEC. The Tide and Tigers are off, but there's some big key matchups, and we'll have those for you right after this.